Welcome to the Gloves Are Off podcast. I'm your host, Mark Razzoli. Are you supporting George Soros jihadists? That's my question to Rutgers. Taxpayer-funded Rutgers gives into the George Soros-funded jihadists who support the Iranian proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah. The same groups have been engaged in violent insurrections on college campuses across America. The Rutgers administration was clearly intimidated by the jihadists. It may have ended peacefully, but that's because the so-called student organizers of the insurrection provided a list of demands to the university. These are the same people who disrupted exams and other activities on Rutgers campus. The Rutgers president, Jonathan Holloway, acknowledged and described them as both Rutgers students and individuals not from our community. So it was clearly established that these groups have been funded by groups like Hamas, the George Soros groups, but yet Rutgers actually goes to the table with them to negotiate. The last time I checked, we don't negotiate with terrorists. We arrest them. Okay, it's not your right to take over a college campus, a quad, to take over a bridge, a roadway, to obstruct students from going to class, to target Jewish students. Could you imagine if a black student was prevented from going to class? Everyone would know his or her name. Cities would be burning down. There would be rioting. But yet, not a word's mentioned by the media about what's going on, how Jewish students were being prevented from going to class throughout America. Not a word. So Rutgers University is giving into these demands. Rutgers will explore creating a Middle East Studies department. Rutgers will look to develop a relationship with the Birzeit University, which is located in the West Bank of Palestine. Rutgers will develop Arab Cultural Center on campus. Rutgers agreed to provide support for 10 displaced Gazans on scholarship. Rutgers will work with the 10 displaced Palestinian students to finish their education at Rutgers. I guess there aren't 10 poor American students that could use a scholarship to Rutgers. And I want to remind everyone, the Muslim world don't want the Gazans. But Joe Biden and Rutgers wants to bring them to America because it wasn't enough that Joe Biden, with his open border policy, has already been importing third world criminals. Let's import Middle Eastern terrorists. Let's bring them more here. We don't even know who the hell's here now. The insurrectionists called it a huge win and was celebrating that Rutgers agreed 8 of their 10 demands. 2 demands they didn't agree to was divestment and also severing ties with Tel Aviv University. These are the same people who just days earlier were chanting against America. But yet we now have Rutgers University administration giving in to them. Taxpayer funding. It's time to boycott Rutgers. Americans, we need to be boycotting all these universities that support these Hamas and Hezbollah, these Iranian proxies, with nothing more but terrorists. They're being funded by Hamas and George Soros to destroy America. Faculty members were present to protect students. I mean, this is insane. Protect them from who? How about protecting the poor kids who wanted to go to school, wanted to go to class, the Jewish students that were being harassed? But let the faculty protect the jihadists that were on campus. Were they also protecting the people who didn't belong on campus? Protest organizer explained the negotiation process with university officials to the crowd. Okay? They didn't want a repeat of what happened at Columbia University, because they didn't like the fact that the NYPD went in there and arrested people. Because they feel they should have been allowed to take over, to commit their insurrection, take over buildings, threaten people, prevent professors from going to teach because they were Jewish, prevent Jewish students from going to class. Now, all that stuff should have been allowed. Total disorder, lawlessness, the way of the Democrat Party. That's what they're all about. But yet now we have Rutgers setting a terrible example. National disgrace Rutgers is. Taxpayer funding should be suspended immediately, pending the outcome of a full investigation into that university. The hiring practices, who was present from the faculty, so-called protecting the jihadists, who was funding this at Rutgers, and where is New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy and the Attorney General Matt Plankton? Nowhere to be found. Because they like this. It's all about their identity politics. If this was a Donald Trump supporter, a Donald Trump group, they would have been there holding a press conference, and all those Trump supporters would have been in jail. Two frauds. The double standard exists in America. This insanity has to stop. That Americans come last, and people here illegally, people here on student visas come before American citizens. I mean, this is insane. Any student arrested here on a student visa should be immediately deported. Americans come first in America. This is our country. You don't take our flag down and hoist up that Palestinian flag that's synonymous with terrorism. And if you don't like to hear it, it's too damn bad. The last time I checked, New Jersey residents were killed during 9/11. We're going to allow this shit to go on? That's why we have to get out and vote. It's time to take back America. Vote early, vote by mail, but you have to vote. You have to vote this corrupt Joe Biden out of office. It's time to take back America. For the Gloves Are Off podcast, this is Mark Razzoli. As always, please subscribe and share. Back to blue, and God bless America.